go. These are the problems from the board. We'll go over how to find the derivatives of these problems. Number one here, right off the bat, we're talking about a quotient rule problem. So, quotient rule, remember, the derivative of the function will be, whatever letter you want to call it. Let's just say the derivative. The derivative of a quotient, we'll say f of x over g of x. The derivative of, all right, is g f prime minus f g prime all over g squared. All right, so here we go. Top and bottom, f and g. So f prime of x, remember notation, says g, which I'm going to write as a exponent. F prime is simply 3 minus f. G prime, now this one's a little more intense. It's got a power rule, 1/2 of x squared minus 6. That drops to the negative 1/2. And a function inside, so chain rule says times 2x. And that is all over my denominator squared. Well, a square root squared is just the thing inside there, so x squared minus 6. At this point, we are on to algebra. We need to simplify our numerator. Notice like terms, x squared minus 6 to some power and x squared minus 6 to some power. We always pull out the lowest degree. In this case, that's negative 1/2. And factoring, if I pull something out, I have to subtract that exponent from what was there. A half minus a negative half is a whole. So x squared minus 6, the 3 obviously is still there. Minus the 3x plus 5 is still here. The half and the 2x, half and 2 are gone. This came out obviously, and I'm left with just the x from here. And that is over x squared minus 6, and that's all to the first power. So at this point I can drop this to the denominator. That gives me x squared minus 6 to the 3/2. And combined terms up here, I have 3x squared minus 3x squared. That's gone. I have a negative 18. And I have, looks like a minus 5x as well. So you can leave it like that, or you can pull a negative out and make it 5x plus 18. Either way, does not matter. No me importa. X squared minus 6 to the 3/2. That's number one. Let's look at number two here, g of x. This is nothing fancy here. This is just a regular old trig derivative. We got it to the 4th power. We got the linear function inside. Now keep in mind, this is the same thing as the sine of 6x minus 7, the entire thing to the 4th power. So 3 functions. We have a quartic, a trig function, and a linear function. It means chain rule will certainly need to be applied. Outermost is the 4, the quartic. That's a power rule. 4 sine cubed 6x minus 7. Next inner function is sine times cosine of 6x minus 7. And next inner function is the linear derivative is 6. All I can do to that is multiply the 6 and the 4. And I end up with this nice looking derivative. Okay, notice the angle does not change. 6x minus 7 is consistent throughout this problem. Our angles cannot change, but when we take the derivative of the angle, of course, that'll be multiplied to the end. Moving on to number 3. This clearly has a quotient rule involved, and we got a cubic, a quotient, this inside of the cubic. So again, chain rule will be applied. We're going to start first with that 3 on the outside. 3 times that crap squared. So 2x minus 5 over 3x squared plus 7 times, I got to take the derivative of this inside, and that's a quotient rule. G f prime minus f g prime all over g squared. And it becomes a simplifying game at this point. I have 3. I have 2x minus 5 squared, right? 2x minus 5 squared. I have 3x, oops, let's multiply this guy through. I have 6x squared plus 14 minus 12x squared. That's a plus 30x. All over, I have 3x plus 7, 3x squared plus 7 squared. And of course, the 3x squared plus 7 squared here. So my denominator, that's pretty straightforward. 3x squared plus 7 to the fourth. My numerator, I have a 3. I have a 2x minus 5 squared. And in here, I have a negative 6x squared, a 30x, and a 14, of which they're all even. So I'm going to plop a negative 2 is going to jump out to make that 3 a negative 6. 2x minus 5 squared. Remember, I took a negative 2 out of all this, so that becomes 3x squared minus 15x minus 7. And that is all over 3x squared plus 7 to the fourth. Moving on to number 4. Straightforward power rule mixed in with the chain rule. So 12 times 4x cubed minus 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. That was the 12th degree derivative. Now I got to take my inside derivative, which is 12x squared minus 4x plus 3. Nothing in common here, can't factor. Nothing in common here, can't factor. Oops, what did I miss? You're screaming at me right now. You missed it, you missed it. The 11th power. Okay, we are done that one. Moving on here now, we're looking for the equation of tangent lines here. This is a product rule, f and g. So f prime of x says it's the first times the derivative of the second. Well, the derivative of tangent is secant squared, and the derivative of 2x is 2. So there's fg prime plus g. F prime, the derivative of sine is cosine, and the derivative of 2x is 2. So now I need to find my slope, the value of my slope. So plug pi over 2 in for all the x's, that's sine of pi. This is 2 times secant squared of pi plus tangent of pi and cosine of pi times 2. Let's think unit circle now. Pi is over here, and my coordinates are -1, 0. That's cosine, and that's sine. So sine of pi is 0. Don't really care what this is, but in case you were wondering, secant is 1 over cosine, so 1 over -1 is -1, -1 squared is 1, and 1 times 2 is 2, but in the end, 0 times 2 is 0. Plus tangent of pi, well, that's sine over cosine, that's 0. Cosine of pi is -1, and of course we have a 2 there. Either way, 0 plus 0 is 0. That's my slope. So my slope is 0. So y tangent minus 0 equals 0 times x minus pi over 2. So y tangent equals 0. And g of x, so g prime, again, we're doing tangent line here. You know what, before I get to g prime, I'm going to rewrite this guy a little bit, because I bet you're all thinking quotient rule here. This is really 1/9 of 3x squared minus 6 cubed. Okay, so that's not a quotient rule, that's a constant multiplier. Now I'll jump into my derivative. Power rule says 3 times that to the second power. Chain rule says the derivative of the inside now is 6x. So I end up with 18x over 9, which is just 2x. 3x squared minus 6 squared. And looking for the actual slope, when x equals 1, I get 2 times 1 times 3 times 1 squared minus 6 squared. That's 2 times -3 squared, which is 18. So y tangent minus -3, right, -3, equals m times x minus 1. So y tangent is 18x. That's a minus 18. I'm going to subtract 3 here, so that's a minus 21. And there we go. We are done for today. Good luck tomorrow in the quiz. Hope you guys all ace it. Have a nice one.